So the pregnancy journey was normal. I was high risk because I was diabetic. So I was seeing a high risk doctor, having an ultrasound every month. But other than that, everything was normal. We actually had just come home from a birthday party. I got to my parents' house and my water broke. So our only concern was she was 28 weeks and maybe she was gonna have problems breathing when she was born. So I had a partial placenta abruption. Our doctor came in and said, we're gonna have to go ahead and deliver the baby. And he said, they were equipped to take care of 28 weekers and older at the NICU in Bowling Green. Unless there's a serious problem, we're gonna try to keep her here. They took me into an emergency C-section and I heard her cry, which was a good sign. And then they took me into recovery and they rushed her off. And so as I was in recovery, the neonatologist came in there and told us that she had tracheoesophageal fistula. She was like, so she's gonna have to be transported to Norton's. They said that they would bring her by to see us before she left. So we kept asking, when are we gonna see her? When are we gonna see her? Now I know they were trying to stabilize her. Paramedics brought her up there before they took her off and she was in an isolette type thing. That was like the moment where I was like, oh my gosh, this is really serious, So we signed the release paper and they gave us directions to Norton's and they took her off. So all I could do was just pray that she made it to Norton's. When she got there, they rushed her, into immediate surgery. So they repaired the holes in her stomach and clamped off where her esophagus was attached to her trachea so the air would stop going into her stomach. Dr. Bond called us after surgery and said surgery went well and he achieved everything that he hoped to achieve during the surgery, which that was really good news. So everything seemed positive and we were just waiting till I could get out of the hospital so we could come up here to be with her. Dr. Schweinhart called and said she was losing a lot of blood and that she was losing blood faster than they could put it back in her and that she wasn't dying, but there was a good chance that she could. And so, of course, that's when I lost it, I think everybody in that hospital probably could hear me scream at that time. It was the worst thing you want to hear as a mother, especially when you can't be there. I cried the whole way there off and on, and I got there and they wheeled me up to see her. And Dr. Schweinhart explained to us what the TE fistula was and how hers was laid out. Since she was so critical, we had a nurse that stayed in there the whole night with her. And from then on, she just continued to grow stronger and stronger because she was a little fighter. She had been breathing on her own for about a month or so, which was really good. And then she had her repair, which went really good, but she had to be intubated during the repair. After her repair, that's when things went bad again. So the chest tube that she had in they put really high to drain. So with the one that they placed in after her surgery had like 10 mLs in it. And as soon as they put the pigtail drain in, the second one filled up to over like 120, I think. And then her lung opened up instantly. So that was a really, scary moment. And that probably went on for a couple of days. After that, they extubated her. She was doing good, but she was stridor, and they said that's common for babies who have been intubated. The stridor kept getting worse and worse. So finally it got to the point where they did do a bronch. They thought that she had tracheomalacia, and come to find out she had a subglottic webbing growing in her larynx area of her trachea. And Dr. O said it was just a thin piece of skin. We took the balloon to dilate it and it just popped open and she's breathing on her own. They said that they thought that she wouldn't have to have any follow-ups on that and everything would be good. So we had a discharge date planned. Maybe 3 or 4 days before her discharge, I started hearing her, what you would say, stridor-like sound, again. So the day of discharge, everybody came in to say goodbye. The nurse practitioner listened to her and she said, I'm gonna have Dr. Stewart listen to her before we leave. Within an hour after Dr. Stewart saw her, they were down there and they had her back in the surgery doing another bronch and the skin had grown back. He was certain that if they lasered the area of the trachea that the skin was growing, that it wouldn't grow back. So they took her back after a couple of weeks. It hasn't grown back since, so he was right. We were a couple days from hopefully going home because everything was good after that last bronch. Well, then they saw a sinus pause on her heart. So she wore the Holter monitor for 48 hours, and we rushed them to read it, you know, and then she finally got to go home.